Welcome. This is the introduction video for Chemistry 121. In it, I'll introduce myself and give a little bit of background about where I'm coming from and teaching this course online. And then I'll mention a few online resources for the class and go over the main points of the syllabus with you. This section of the class usually takes about 40 minutes, but I'm hoping to keep this much shorter than that. So please read the syllabus document in advance and have it open during this video. It's a good idea to have a printed copy where you can make notes or start an organized notebook to keep track of your logistical details for the quarter. So let's get started. My name is Erin Gibbons. I've been teaching at Seattle Central since 2008. I also taught at Shoreline, Cascadia, Bellevue, South Community College, and UW. We have a vibrant community of students and faculty where I'm always learning and feeling engaged in important work in the world. I hope you are feeling connected with the campus community and student body. Our class will include synchronous meeting times to help develop that connection for you and build supportive learning community. Before I move on to the syllabus, I want to briefly mention the main resources you will need to rely on to learn chemistry this summer. There's a separate video introducing the course website, WAMAP. Watch that video and post any questions to the forum. We will also use ALEX, which many of you have already started, and that can be your primary source for learning new content. I've posted sections for our free online textbook that you can read in advance to prepare for our worksheets, and you can also watch videos online to introduce new materials. Some of those videos include Crash Course and Organic Chemistry Tutor. Those tend to be a little long. So we can talk about other options too for introducing the material. I will be providing videos of problem solving on our worksheets. I advise that you pause the videos and work ahead and then play the videos only when you get stuck. To truly develop your problem solving skills, you must put your work out there first. Push through the not knowing and then get the answers and find out whether you were right or wrong. That process of getting feedback, putting it out there first and getting feedback is where learning takes place. So it's not enough to just watch. You have to test yourself to make sure that you have the performance that you want on exams. Finally, I found 2 additional web resources for use for our lab work. And one of them has assignments that take you through learning some of the mathematical calculations. I will make several of the gizmos available to you for practice, but just a couple of them are required for our lab assignments. Remember this main principle though. If you are getting frustrated with your computer issues, please ask for help or take a break. Don't spin up your anxiety over computer logistics. Reach out and find another way to move through the material. You can always work ahead in ALEX if you're blocked on other assignments. And each student has 4 late passes inside WAMAP that you can use for labs and other assignments. I can also grant extensions as necessary, so try not to work up against the deadline, but if you need an extension, do ask for it. One big skill you're gaining is resilience. I'm on your side, and our goal is for you to learn chemistry that will enrich your life and your career. Managing your mindset is a life skill that will serve in every area of life, so practice now by keeping perspective, taking a break when you need to, and keep your priority on learning the material, not beating the computer into submission. Save your persistence through that frustration for the actual chemistry content. Don't spend your resilience on worries about the grade or the computer system. Keep everything in balance and take care of yourself so that you can persist and succeed. Now let's turn to the syllabus, and it'll be just a moment while I share the document. Okay, hopefully you can see the syllabus now. So welcome to Chemistry 121. This is listed as an online class, but I have chosen to have a synchronous meeting. In the synchronous meeting times, those will take place on Zoom, and I would like to structure engagement and participation in a community setting. So I'm hoping that you will introduce yourselves and have a chance to work together on some group projects addressing the content. I do give you my information from campus, but I'm not on campus. So you can reach me on my email address, but ideally messaging me inside WAMAP is the best way to go because that's where I'm going to look all the time. So if you have not read through the syllabus yet, go ahead and pause the video and read through it on your own just up to page 4, and then come back to the video, and please be sure you list your questions so that we can address those. This is the introductory chemistry for allied health, and there is a math prerequisite. So in ALEKS, our first assignment is a math prerequisite review. Please try to spend plenty of time up front and get that done. It's the biggest assignment of the quarter in ALEKS. We do have a textbook, and that is linked on the website, and I give it to you here. You can purchase a copy. I like hard copy books. Or you can see it online and use it online, and he has a full website full of resources. Resources, I'd like you to get a calculator, and I mean a real calculator. Please don't use your phone as a calculator because you need to know how to use one. So pick one out. I like to make sure it has the exponent button. And if you start using that same one all quarter, it's a lot easier because then you're not looking for the buttons as you are trying to do your tests. I don't recommend a web interface calculator either, and it has to have that exponent function. Okay, I encourage you to get these bound composition books. Where's the black one? Most of them are black. I just have some colorful ones here. One of them will be your lab notebook, and so that has a specific format. We'll talk about that in our lab section on Thursday. The other one you'll use as your ALEKS homework worksheet, where you'll work problems, or maybe you'll write notes if you want to start with notes on the syllabus, questions to get wrapped up. Then you can keep a list of questions and then just work through the book. That way, if there's one you have trouble with, you can just stick a tab in there. And then you know where to jump to, your list of questions or the problem that was difficult. But definitely use it to write your notes and your work and keep it all in a contained resource. I suggest 2 of those. One of them's required. Probably just get 2. All right, aleks.com is our adaptive homework system, and that costs $30 for the 11 or 12-week subscription. So there will be plenty of time for you to finish the ALEKS work. Here is our weighting of the different components of the course. Exams are 40%. There's going to be 2 midterms and a final, and they are all weighted equally. The lab is a large component of the work. We'll have a quiz every week that we don't have an exam, and one of them will get dropped, the lowest score. The ALEKS homework takes a lot of time. We're expecting 3 to 6 hours a week on ALEKS, and that is 15%. And then we have a participation grade. It's based on a couple essays, forum participation, and having a conference with me, meeting with me individually. Our course website will be WAMAP, and I'm going to run through a tour of that separately. You can get on, actually it's listed next in the syllabus, but wamap.org, you'll make an account, enter the course ID, and our enrollment key is LoveChem, which is the same as our Zoom password. Please don't share it. All right, we have our grade breakdown. These are the grade points based on the percentage, and this is the minimum grade you will receive for that percentage. So sometimes I make upward adjustments, and I don't drop that quiz until late in the quarter, so it's common for grades to run a little lower than you'd expect and then to come up a little bit at the end. All right, we have lots of free tutoring available. The SAM Learning Center is on Zoom. Log in on Starfish to get the quarterly password. So as soon as I find out more, I will let you know. But for now, if you know how to get onto Zoom, zoom.us, you can use the meeting ID and give that a shot. So I think they're keeping that the same, and just the password will change quarter to quarter. All right, learning outcomes. I am working to relate our activities directly to the learning outcomes more explicitly. We will talk about observations, scientific method, and we are going to really connect what we observe in real life with what's going on the atomic level, what's happening with the molecules and atoms that cause that macroscopic behavior. We are going to work on reporting experimental results and applying precision and accuracy. So that's one of the first challenges, is the numerical, mathematical tracking of precision and accuracy. All through the quarter, we will develop problem-solving skills, fluency in the vocabulary, and symbolic representation. So we use letters to represent our atoms. We'll talk about the properties of matter, and that's something that doesn't show up in the book as much as we will cover in this class. So we'll rely on the worksheets and the videos for that. We will end up the quarter with using stoichiometry to predict chemical quantities. Let's see, we're going to talk about the structure of an atom, just a little bit on the historical development. But we will talk about periodicity, the relationship between an element, its position on the periodic table, and its physical and chemical properties. All right, we'll talk about bonding types and interactions. We will talk about solids, liquids, and gases, and how those relate to the energetics, and especially focusing on intermolecular forces and how they affect the properties, how we can make predictions from knowing the properties of those structures. And lastly, we are going to work with heat and energy and relate those to chemical and physical changes. We will balance equations, predict some products. Then we're going to talk about what factors influence reaction rates. We will also address some equilibrium systems as well. Okay, on the website you'll find a calendar, and I'll give you a little tour. Try to keep up with the things on the calendar as best you can. If you can get ahead, that's always better. It's a lot easier when you're just a little bit ahead than when you're just a little bit behind. Go ahead and self-enroll at wamap.org. You'll make an account. Please use whatever name you'd like to be called as your first name, but then make sure that your last name matches enrollment. That's very helpful for me. And you'll enter the course ID and the enrollment key, and then that'll get you into the class. So take a look at our WAMAP tour to get an orientation to our website. This class can be tough. It's a heavy class for many students. And so I'd like to focus our synchronous time on ways that we can really deepen our learning and stay motivated to keep working on it. That only works when everyone comes prepared. Now, please do show up, even if you're not fully prepared, but the better you can compare, the more you're going to get out of it. Homework is super important for success on exams and quizzes. Working through problems is the best way to improve performance on exams and quizzes. And Alex provides you lots of options to work on different kinds of problems, and you can even use it to review. The trick with Alex is that you have to be ahead of the due dates in order to work in different areas. So try to work ahead of those due dates as much as possible. And don't guess at the answers. That can sometimes add extra problems. You can read this quick start guide and also the information in WAMAP. We can talk about those as well to figure out how to approach Alex. But usually you'll want to look for the button that either says learn or continue my path. Those are the usual ways you can increase your grade. Labs are a really important part of the class, and we are not going in person, so we'll be focusing on learning some of the processes for lab in person, but mainly focusing on record keeping and techniques that we can do remotely. Each lab is going to require a pre-lab assignment and then a post-lab report. So it can be a little bit like juggling. We've got a lot of things going on, wrapping up the old experiment and then proceeding to the next experiment. So it's really helpful if you finish up those post-labs soon after the lab. All right, we're going to have 2 midterm exams and a final. They will be, I'll probably give you 55 minutes for those exams, and then a final exam will be 2 hours. I will provide some resources, equations. I provide the equations and the constants for you. I'll provide those on each exam along with a periodic table that you can see in your browser. They will be timed exams, and I recommend that you set yourself up for success by making sure that you have the time blocked out in a relatively undisturbed area. Also, do all your work on paper so that you have notes and you can submit your work for the questions where there's partial credit. You could use your notebook to put that work in there, and you can structure in order, make it nice and neat, leave some extra room so you can go back. Just try to be really orderly. Don't just take it like any old quiz on the computer. Do it like a paper exam where you're doing calculations as needed and write those down. All of the exams and quizzes should have a password that says ready for a time test with the number 4, and that is so you don't accidentally open it up and then you've used the assessment without realizing it. Okay, participation. We have a category in the gradebook for participation, and that includes a couple personal essays. That will include a mandatory office hours visit where we'll just conference and chat and see how things are going. I like for those conferences to take place in the first half of the quarter, ideally. So you can request them anytime, or if I'm not getting requests, we'll talk about it and set up some structured time slots and sign up. And there's 5 forum posts are required. I'm going to ask you to post the forum 5 times for full credit. You can post as many times and you can get credit for questions and answers. So that is a category where you can get extra credit by posting on the forum. So that's a great way to go. And then once that community starts on the forum, it tends to be very helpful. So please don't be shy. All right, if you need accommodations, you can call or email the DSS Center. And so that process has not changed. You would go through them, and then there's a form, or they can just email me. And then I'm able to set up your accommodations on the system. So if you need to get accommodations, please contact the DSS. All right, academic honesty. I'm going to ask that you sign an honor pledge and that you give me your word that you will not consult outside websites, other people in the class, or anyone else aside from me while you're doing your exams and quizzes. For those assignments, I'm asking you to use just the resources that I've provided for you and solve those questions to the best of your ability. All of the questions on the exams may be randomized, so they may not match other people's questions, and most of them have starting values that are also randomized. So be sure you read your question carefully and don't give me the answer for someone else's question, because then I know who you're talking to. So please don't cheat on my exams and quizzes. The lab work is another area where students will be typing while they're talking, and then they're exactly the same answer. So please do the lab on your own. It's okay to collaborate and talk about it, but when you fill out your answers, please do your own work so that I'm not reading the same question and wondering which of you came up with it. In the conduct area, we will all plan to treat each other with respect, and I will send out some guidelines for structuring participation in our synchronous meetings. As for non-traditional grading options, I don't normally give an N, so typically your best bet is to take the class again for a better grade. But if you need a non-standard grading option, let me know and we'll see what we can work out. All right, and then Title IX, zero tolerance policy on harassment of any kind. And there's a bunch of information if something is going on that you need to report. Also, keep in mind that I'm a mandatory reporter, so I would have to report any issues of abuse that I hear about. And I'm going to refer you to the syllabus addendum in the class. That'll be posted on our course website. And that has emergency procedures, which we don't have to evacuate the building, I suppose. Student services, resources, civic engagement, and other information about our campus policies and resources. So I'm going to stop there. We will go over the laboratory work as a separate video, and you can save that for Thursday. And at the bottom here is our tentative schedule. So with that, I'm going to end this video and advise you to watch, when you're ready, the tour of the WAMAP website, and then after that we'll jump straight into content. So thanks for watching, and I look forward to meeting you.